Hello, it's Mark from Cars and Cameras, and today we're going to take a look at the PS5. I have a quick unboxing for you, and what we're going to look at is something a little bit different than the other videos on YouTube on this because it's been covered before, is I'm going to talk about using this as a media player, and primarily using it as a 4K and 2K Blu-ray player and DVD player, and give you my thoughts on how it works upscaling DVDs and what I think of it. So here's the unit, here's the controller. We're going to talk more about this controller in a minute. I know it's mainly used for gaming, but I'm going to talk about because there really isn't a good controller to use this as a DVD player. So here's the unit, and as I did get the disc player version because I have many Blu-ray discs to test out and use in this machine. This is replacing an older machine, and you can see all the connections on the back. Not very many there, just mainly your HDMI connection. And up front, you have a couple of USBs, a USB-C, which looks like it's for an external hard drive. But we're not going to really talk too much about that. We're going to talk about this as a DVD and Blu-ray player. So let's talk about the controller here, which we're going to be using to control it to use with discs. Now, this is an older PlayStation than I had, and this had a great remote. And unfortunately, there is not a remote, even though this thing's been out for a while. So let's go ahead and turn it on. It is pretty cool when you fire it up. It kind of glows this really cool blue glow. And really, it fires up really quickly. It's pretty amazing. It's a lot faster than the older units. And once it's fired up, it's ready to go. Once you sign in one time, it stays signed in. And once it boots up, and what's cool about this is it, at least my unit, it came with 6 months of free Apple TV. I also loaded Hulu on it, so you can use different subscription systems with it. But we're mainly going to talk about the discs. And when you load a disc in, it basically feeds it into the machine, and then it will go to the media section on the menu, and it's going to go ahead and load up right here. Once the PS5 recognizes the disc, it's going to go ahead and show up on the menu here. And then you just hit the X on the controller, and then it's going to play the disc. Okay, so let's take a look at ejecting the disc, and I like how it ejects it out more than halfway. It makes it easy to take out. Now let's look at a Blu-ray that I put in, and you can see here, when it plays back the Blu-ray, it automatically drops down the hertz to 24 hertz, which this disc is a 24p disc. So you're going to want to see it, at a low hertz. You're not going to want to see it at 60 hertz or 120 hertz. Maybe that's great for games, but for a movie, you want to see it in its most cinematic experience. So it's really nice that it drops down the hertz for that. Now let's talk about audio. It also recognized, because I was plugged into my amplifier, it recognized that it was a 7.1 surround sound system, and that's really great. And the only thing that I changed is I made sure I took it off a linear PCM and changed it to Dolby. And that's the only change that I made there. Other than that, I left it alone. So this is my Sony receiver, and I wanted to see that it was doing the decoding of the 5.1 surround sound, and I can see that is happening here. And then what I did is you can bring up the information on the player itself, on the PS5 player, and it is decoding it in Dolby audio in 5.1 surround sound. So that does work perfectly. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the controls on the unit itself. And if you hit the X control or the circle, that does pause the video when you're playing it. Also, if you hit the triangle, it does bring up this menu, and then you can scroll around. I don't know why you'd want to use that, because you can use other controls to do the same thing pretty much. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that on screen. And then the next thing we're going to do is if you hit the square, it brings up the main, you can go to the main menu. Now, the next thing we're going to take a look at is how to either go back a chapter or go forward of the chapter. So we're going to show you that. So the buttons on the top here, that's what you do. So hitting the one on the left, you can cycle through the chapters. That basically takes it back to the beginning of the disc. And then the one on the right, the button on the right, basically sets the chapters forward. And then the buttons on the bottom there, you can see on the controller, that just does fast forwarding. So when you hit it the first time, it does 1.5 times, then it does 10 times, and then it does 30 times, and then 120 times. So that's kind of cool. And you can do the same thing with the button on the rear. It will rewind the video. Oh, also you can do the same thing with the buttons on the front. So you can fast forward the same as hitting those buttons on the top. So that's kind of cool that you can do that. I really haven't seen a video out explaining this, so I kind of wanted to show people how to use this, their PS5 as a DVD and Blu-ray player. Okay, so let's talk about using the PS5 as a media player. This is the best media player that I've ever used for upscaling regular DVDs, 720p DVDs, to 4K. It looks really fantastic. And of course, the Blu-rays and the 4K Blu-rays look fantastic. So I have to say, if you're thinking about getting this, maybe to play games, but also to use as a media system for your Blu-ray and DVD discs, this is a really good player to get. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.